everybody. Okay, so last week we discussed the different types of norths, right? And before that we talked about compasses. So right now, if you have to get somewhere, the vast majority of us, myself included, we just, use GPS. But what would happen if GPS went down? What if there's a solar flare, an EMP? What if there's just the towers go down and so we don't have any signal with our cell phones? Because that's what most of us use to get from point A to point B. If we don't know where it is, we just, Google it. Hit, Google Maps takes us where we need to go. Google Maps. Now, we've already talked about compasses and the different norths. And when you're dealing with land navigation, the final piece, the final major piece is a map. Now, there are different types of maps. There's a lot of different types of maps out there. You've got like climate maps, political maps, economic maps. But when you're dealing with land navigation, the main three, maybe four, depending, but the main three you'd be using would be either a physical map. And with a physical map, it just it shows like all of your major landscapes, and it uses different colors to show like elevation and like water and stuff like that. It uses different colors. So that's one that you might be using. It's just kind of like it's a map of the physical location. Another one you might use is a topographical map, which is essentially the same thing, but it uses contour lines. So it'll have like different, darker or lighter contour lines depending on whether it's going up in elevation or down in elevation. So whereas with a physical map, it uses color, a topographical uses contour lines. So you kind of have that, dark to light, light to dark type scheme. And then another common one that you would definitely use is a road map, a street map, a city map, state map, something like that. And it's a good idea, especially in when in a survival or prepping type situation, that you do have maps of your city, your state, maybe a couple of the surrounding states, just in case you have to get somewhere. Because if there's no GPS, you have to rely on the maps. And I know you may not, and you may be we live on the border of another state. And so for me, we would need to have Texas and New Mexico because that's where we're at. And it's just like you throw a stone and you can be in New Mexico. You throw a stone another way and you get in Mexico. So it's good to have maps of the location you're in, as well as locations you might possibly be at. So, let's say that you have a bug out location, or just a secondary location. Let's say you have, I plan on buying some acreage up in New Mexico. So if I have this acreage up in New Mexico, and I have to get there, a good thing to have is maps. So whereas I might know how to get there, but other people in my party might not. So maps are very important. Now, and then as we get into maps, and I have to pick one up, but we have to understand the different parts of the map as well. And so that's something else that we're going to be talking about next week. We're gonna get a couple maps that we can look at. And then that way we can go into the actual how to read a map, what to look for on maps. But those are the main types of maps that you would need to have. The other one, it would be a nautical map, but not too many of us are seafarers. So, because with a nautical map, it's dealing with like the oceans and lakes and stuff. So there are other maps out there that are useful, but for the purpose of land navigation, physical, topographical, and then like your street, city, state maps. Those are the main ones we'll be using. So, and another good option is, if you can pick up an atlas, you might be able to get a good atlas of all 50 states. And that's something, if you don't know where you're going to be at, but you have a map of all 50 states, it'll be a big help, because a lot of times you'll have you might have your regions, and then it goes into different states, so that way it helps you follow the street lines and stuff. So, but atlases are really good. And if you don't have one, I would recommend picking up an atlas at the very least. Well, at the very least, you need to go pick up a map of your state, your area. That way, just in case something happens, you're good to go. So, that's... yeah, and like I said, a map is really, it's just a two-dimensional representation of the landscape. That's about it. That's a good introduction right there. But the main takeaway is that you need to get maps at least of your state, and I would recommend the surrounding states, because if you don't know where you're going to end up going, it's a big help. So, because a time may come where you can't rely on your cell phone for GPS, and if that time does come, you'll be glad that you have maps. Now, like I said, starting next week, we're going to start learning how to read maps and the different parts of a map, because there are parts of everything, and that way we'd be able to, you need to know what you're looking at when you look at a map. So, and then after we after we go through that, we're gonna break down, because the maps will have a declination on there, and that's where, if you recall, when we were talking about the compasses, there's that declination scale, because the declination scale will help you find the difference between your magnetic north and your true north, so that way you know where to put your arrow so that you can get where you're going, and maps will tell you that. So that declination scale on the compass, the maps are going to tell us how to use that, and so we'll actually be able to bring we're going to bring the compasses back into the conversation, but it's going to be in conjunction with having maps, because maps are great, compasses are great, but together they're super, and that's something that it's kind of a lost skill, and it's something that it's very good information to have, so that way if the grid does go down, you know how to get where you're going. So, but that's going to do it for this video. Again, the map videos are going to be a little bit longer, because there's a lot to do with maps. We're going to be talking about the different terrain features themselves, the different colors on the map. So, because the maps are fantastic, and if you know how to read a map, it's a great tool to get you out of a bad situation. So, all right, and as always, if it's your first time on this channel, go ahead, please subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you. If you are subscribed, make sure that you've hit that notification bell, so that when we put our new videos up, you get those notifications. Again, we are 220 subscribers, so 30 more subscribers, and we do have that giveaway for the Mora knife with the survival kit that we built, as well as that ferro rod. So, yeah, so just keep on the lookout for that. Once we hit that 250, we'll do the video for that, and we'll post that video up. Until time, keep prepping, stay safe.